Okay, so let's talk about everybody's favorite subject, money, money, money. Okay, I'm using this $2 bill because I love $2 bills. I think they're fun. And it's not common. You don't see them often circulated uh, in anywhere, really. Um, and I love crisp bills. And I just happen to have a crisp $2 bill in my wallet. So that's what we're using for this video. They're just fun. I like them. Anyways, okay. Oh, and yes, so I'm wearing glasses because I'm old and my vision is starting to fail me. So sad. I'm falling apart, people. Anyways, all right, so let's talk about money, in particular, currency. All right. So this is not, I'm not going to get super detailed into this because this is a very, very simple concept. Okay. So I talked about how the Federal Reserve moving the interest rate last week will, strengthen the dollar. Okay. So we're only going to talk about um, what it means to strengthen or weaken the dollar bill, um, and how is it done. Okay, so let's first talk about how is the currency affected in value. So it's the simplest idea. Okay, we've all heard it. It's called supply and demand, right? There is always demand for money, right? Everybody wants to get their hands on it. Everybody wants to use it so that they can buy stuff. Okay, so there is always a demand for money. There is not, however, always a supply of money, meaning that uh, the quantity of supply. So it comes down to if there's a limited supply of currency flowing in the U.S. economy, and there's this high demand, obviously the currency the money that's flowing through the economy at that point that is limited is going to have higher value. Um, or if there's lots of dollar bills flowing through the economy, and there's again the high demand, but if there's more supply, then it's not going to be as valued. So it's a very, very simple concept, and that's all it is. That's where the value comes from. So um, it's like what's a great analogy for this? I'm a foodie, so I'm going to use food because I love food. If you've ever noticed, like half my posts on Facebook are about food. Anyway, um, so let's say there's this fantastic. I like donuts, so we're going to use donuts. Let's say there's a fantastic donut shop, okay, and they make this beautiful, delicious strawberry donut, but they only make 12 in a day. Okay, that 12 is going to be highly valuable because they only make 12 of those. Okay, they could make and let's say that represents the US dollar. Okay, so they have a limited supply of it. If they made, you know, uh, endless supply, not endless, but let's say they made 3 dozen of these strawberry donuts, then it's not going to be as highly coveted because um, you're not having to compete with other people to get it, right? And so if they limit the supply, it's going to bring bigger value to that uh, to that limited item. If they increase the supply of any given item, it's going to devalue it. Okay, does that make sense? Again, it's just simple idea of supply and demand. And so, um, again, there's always demand for money. There's not always the same supply of money. It fluctuates with the Federal Reserve either increasing the rate or decreasing the rate. Because what happens is if they increase the rate, it will restrict the supply of money flowing in the US economy. And you might ask, well, how does that happen? Okay, so if they increase the rate, then it increases the price to borrow money. Credit cards, loans, like personal loans, car loans, mortgages, it all costs more. And then people don't want to borrow it because the borrowing cost is too high. So then they spend less. If they spend less, there's less money circulating in the economy. And this doesn't just apply to individuals. This also applies to corporations. If the borrowing costs for a line of credit from a big financial institution, if the borrowing costs are too high, they won't bother borrowing because they understand that that interest rate it comes with or that loan, it comes with a cost to it. And if that cost is too high, they just won't borrow. And so then that restricts their spending and how much money gets, transacted in the economy. So that will pull the amount of money flowing in the economy down, which means there's less money in circulation. And then this in turn causes prices to go down. And I'll tell you why that's relevant in just a second. So that's how the interest rate affects this thing, right? The value of this thing. And you might say, well, Kim, you see that little 2 right there? Okay, whether the Federal Reserve increases rates or not, that's still a $2 bill. It still has value at $2. You're right. It is denominated as a $2 bill. That doesn't mean it's going to buy $2 worth of goods. So let me explain. But before I do, let me go back to the whole interest rate thing. So we talked about what happens if they raise the interest rate and it pulls back spending. Now, what if they decrease the interest rates? Then it's going to increase the supply of currency flowing in the economy. So if they decrease the interest rates, then obviously it's cheaper borrowing costs and more people are likely, both people and individuals and companies are going to be more likely to borrow to get that money and then use that in transactions, and then more money is flowing in the US economy. And that increases the prices, okay? So let's talk about, again, if it's denominated, how does that affect anything? It's still a $2 bill, okay? So let's say you have $1, okay? And we are at a level amount in the economy, right? We are in stable situation in the economy. Okay, so let's say you have $1 and you go to McDonald's. Right now, everything on the dollar menu is exactly $1. Okay, your $1 will buy exactly one item off the menu. Great. What happens if they increase the interest rate? Okay, there's less money flowing, and then, like I said, less people spending, and then it pushes down on the prices. So now an item on the dollar menu might not be $1, it might be 90 cents. So now your dollar can buy more. Not only can you buy this, let's say Big Mac for $1 from the dollar menu, but now you have 10 cents left over. You could go to, the dollar store and get, I don't know, a piece of candy, or you can save that 10 cents. But the point is that you have the extra 10 cents left over. Your dollar has more value than, not more value, but it can buy more than just a Big Mac. You have now money left over because your dollar is stronger. Now, the opposite is true when the dollar is weaker. So let's say, again, you have that dollar, you go to McDonald's, and they decreased the interest rate. And that's going to cause prices to increase because people are spending more money, right? Again, borrowing costs are lower when the interest rates are down, and then people spend more, and then that pushes the prices up. So let's say you go to McDonald's, you have your $1, you go there, and now the Big Mac is $1.25. Now your dollar doesn't buy as much, right? Now you can't even buy the Big Mac because you only have $1 and it's $1.25 for the actual Big Mac. So now it's what's deemed as weaker. The dollar is weaker because it can't buy as much. So that's what they mean when they say the dollar is stronger, the dollar is weaker. they're referring to the purchasing power of that dollar. And so although, again, this is denominated in $2, that doesn't necessarily mean it will buy $2 worth of goods if the US dollar is weak. If the US dollar is strong, this might buy even more than $2 worth of goods. So I hope that made sense. I didn't want to go into too many concepts or too many ideas tonight because I feel like, and I've gotten some feedback that, I need to keep kind of things basic first before I expand on some of the ideas. And so I want to let you guys be aware of how currency work and what they mean when they say it's weaker or it's stronger. It's all referring to the interest rate of what that does to the supply of currency flowing in the economy. So, to kind of add to this to the next level would be currency exchange. So how does that work? How does the US dollar compare to other currencies? Why does that matter? And we'll go into that in a different video. But I just want to at least let you guys be aware of how interest rates have an impact. So the Federal Reserve interest rate, the federal funds rate, how that has impact on currency. And when you hear the term stronger or weaker of the US dollar, that's what they're referring to, is the purchasing power. So hopefully that helped. And I have unlocked the videos because I've set my Facebook on private, but the videos I've made open to public. So if you guys want to share it, go ahead. Be more than happy to have other people view the videos. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Let me know what you guys think of these. If you guys have any feedback, I would love to hear from you. All right, thanks.